Things have changed so quickly from the time you and I were kids. I mean, when you and I were kids, it was
completely.
Russia. Everybody was
Yes.
worried about going to war with Russia. And then when the fall of the Soviet Union, there was just like, this calm that went through the whole country.
The breath.
And I
Yes.
thought we were done.
Yeah.
I thought, we're done with all this. This is great.
Yeah.
We figured this out.
Yeah.
But no.
Well, that's why I wonder where.
Person that has empathy, how do you conduct a drone strike where you know that a certain amount of civilians 100% are going to die, but you know that a terrorist might be in this apartment building? How do you greenlight that? You know, because you kind of have to if you want to get rid of this terrorist. I mean, but we know the consequences of drone strikes. There's some insane number of people that are innocent civilians that get killed. It's hard. It's been explained to me by my friends in the military that it's very difficult to know the truth because oftentimes you get lies from either side. Look, for sure, 100% for sure.
Truth in terms of the reasons for the orders that they came
Not
in.
just the reason for the orders, but the amount of people that died that were innocent. But for sure, innocent people die. The question is how many of them. You know, when they say they bombed a wedding party, that's real. That's happened. Like thousands of people have died that way all over the world. Whether it's in Yemen or wherever they're conducting bombing raids, there have been many people that have not been a target that were killed. But what are those numbers? What's the reality of it? Because if you're on that side that get bombed, you might put out a press information. You might put out something that says 1,000 innocent civilians and they bombed a children's hospital. But the reality might be it was actually 20 insurgents and 50 civilians. Like, we don't really know what the real numbers are unless you're on the ground doing a census. I don't know if we get accurate information from either side. But if you're a president, you have to deal with that horrible reality that if you do an action, if there's some sort of a military action that has to be taken place, particularly like a drone bombing in a civilian area, you're going to kill some innocent people. Yeah. That is a crazy thing to have on your conscience if you have a moral compass. It's crazy. And what are the options? To risk our service members and have them go in there and get gunned down and blown up and lose 50% of them because you didn't want to kill the same number of innocent civilians? Like, and then you get into that conversation. It's like, what's the solution there? Right?
Yeah.
Other than we shouldn't be at war with anybody, and we should figure out a way to stop this
before that happens.
Yes. All over the world.
Right. Because usually you could kind of see it coming down the road.
Yeah.
Right? You could see the scenario happening coming down the road. So maybe the ability to strategically get in, have the conversations you have to have before it actually gets to that
before
point.
it escalates to the point of like extreme violence.
Right.
But some people want extreme violence. And that's the Eisenhower speech when he left office, that there's a military industrial complex that wants us to go to war. They profit off war. And they can, you know, if they're the people that are funding political campaigns and they have massive amounts of money that they're using as influence, they can make certain politicians make decisions that are not in the best interests of the United States or the people that are the citizens. They can do things entirely to make money. You know, like you see it, and you see like the amount of money that's involved in something like Ukraine, whether or not you're pro us helping Ukraine or not. Where did we come up with all that money, and why don't we have that money to fix America? There was one point in time we talked about this where there was $6 billion they accidentally paid to Ukraine. They overpaid them $6 billion. Well, that's the exact amount of money it would take to rebuild every single house in Maui.
Exactly.
Yeah, and no discussion about that at all. Instead, the Maui people get a one-time payment, which is insane. What are we? Are we a community or are we not? If we have the money to donate to some guy who is literally used to be a stand-up comedian who used to play piano with his dick. That's Zelensky. He did a thing. There's a video of him playing piano with his dick. It was like one of his routines.
Wow.
He was a comedian, and he played a character on a television show.
Zelensky was a comedian?
Yes. Zelensky was a comedian, and he played a character of a regular guy who becomes the president. I forget what his job was in real life, but he becomes the president and then ran for president in real life and became president. And we're just sending this guy billions and billions and billions of dollars, and some of it is just like, where is it all going? Like, do we have an accurate account of, like, who is anybody siphoning this? Like, we know that there's massive amounts of corruption all over the world when it comes to this kind of stuff. Like, where's that money going?
Yeah.
This is nuts.
Yeah.
Why don't we have that money to fix inner cities? Why don't we have that money for infrastructure? Why don't we have that money for the school system?
Inner cities.
Yeah.
Homeless.
Yeah.